From the Oklahoma newsroom, this is an OU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here in studio with Abby Bitterman, OU beat writer. Abby, we're to the final week of the regular season for the Sooners. A home game, a road game, and some NCAA tournament hopes, really, which look to be pretty solid right now. We'll talk about that in a second. But that home game will be the last one for the season, obviously senior night. Single senior.
Yes.
No, not seniors night, senior night. And it'll be a good opportunity to recognize a pretty important senior, right?
Yeah, Christian Doolittle, you know, he was the Big 12's most improved player last year. He seems to have just gotten better this year, really led OU in a lot of games and been the reason they won a lot of the time. And, I mean, last week, in a really important week for OU, he led the team in scoring both against Texas Tech on Tuesday and then at West Virginia on Saturday, both after suffering a broken nose.
Yeah.
And so just pretty impressive what he's been doing in his senior year, and kind of the way he's gone out. So yeah, it'll be a great opportunity for OU to get to honor him.
Well, and a local guy from the Edmond School District, and family and friends and all of that. So it'll be a big night, but it'll be a high energy night not just because of that, but Texas is in town.
Yes.
You mentioned those two games last week, Texas Tech, West Virginia. Big wins for the Sooners, as those two teams we expect are NCAA tournament teams. Sooners beat both of them. Now Texas comes to town. Texas is surging a little bit. How important is this game for the Sooners, considering where their hopes stand right now and where Texas stands too?
Yeah, I mean, Texas, as you mentioned, they're surging. They're on a 4-game winning streak, and so they're real hot right now. Certainly, you would think a different Texas team than the one OU faced in Austin. But you know, OU really helped itself out a lot last week. Tech and West Virginia, both ranked opponents. Really moved themselves up a lot in the net rankings, all the way up to 42. Probably gotten off of the bubble, at least for now, but I don't think that they can really afford to just lose out and call it good there, and that's something that I'm sure that they know too. So this Texas game, again, important, especially the way that Texas has been playing, and right now OU and Texas are tied for 4th place in the Big 12, so this can also have some ramifications for the Big 12 tournament next week.
Obviously, Texas playing well, and then a game at TCU over the weekend on Saturday to finish out. And we all know what TCU did last weekend against Baylor, a surprise upset there. So if the Sooners can have another 2-0 week heading into the Big 12 tournament, you talked about, had a story actually looking at their performance in February, which did have some ups and downs, but in total, one of their best Februarys as a program in a long, long time.
Yeah, it's the first time that OU came out of the month of February with a winning record for the month since the 2014-15 season, and so together that's the only 2 times it's happened in the last decade.
Wow.
February has historically been hard for OU, and that part of that is because sometimes you can get into some tough spots Big 12 scheduling wise, and that's, you mentioned they hit a rough patch. That's kind of what happened there, but they were able to finish a really tough 5-game stretch with the 2 wins that we keep talking about. So OU really, I think, put itself in a good position, especially with the way that it finished out February, because they've made it to the NCAA tournament with some terrible Februarys. So you would think that this only is a positive for them and their hopes for later in March.
Well, and you mentioned that 14-15 year was the last time they had a winning record in February. That includes a non-winning record or a 500 record for a Final Four team.
Yes.
So they've had some really good teams who have really struggled in February. I know that's not a metric the NCAA selection committee looks at, but confidence-wise, I got to think the Sooners feel good about where they are coming out of a rough month.
Yeah, I think especially after, you know, you can get over the hump of that 3-game losing streak and kind of get back to 2 games where OU played some very solid basketball, especially you know, on the road when OU hasn't always been at its best. You would think that the confidence level has to be really high right now heading in to this last week.
All right, Tuesday night down at Lloyd Noble Center. It's an 8 o'clock tip against Texas. And then Saturday at TCU, a 5 o'clock start in Fort Worth. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at Oklahoman.com and every day in the Oklahoman.